Hi, and welcome to Suddenly Groove, your independent GrooveFunnels podcast. I'm your host, Martin Bodecker, and in this episode, we will talk about the biggest problem with GrooveFunnels. I got this idea when I just finished a promotion for Affiliate Triad, one of my favorite programs from Jason Flatlian. And currently there's a lot of new members joining the community. And one of them said basically this, I'm doing this alone. So she talks about online business, and it seems that no one from my family or friends are interested. I have tried to get them on board, but to no avail. I have gotten stuck, and I'm also guilty of shiny object syndrome. I'm a consumer and would love to be the seller, helping people for the next half of my life. I'm an entrepreneur at heart who loves helping people. And I think this is a problem that I still struggle with, and that you might be struggling with as well. And I think this is a problem that is quite common, and especially if you're in the GrooveFunnels world, there's so much going on. And I really like the reply from Wilson Matos, who said that many of us have similarities, and we are recovering from shiny objects. So basically we're recovering shiny object addicts, and of course a lot of us face with family and friends who do not understand you. I was facing this myself for the longest time, basically all the time when I was there, just spending money on courses, spending money to buy stuff, spending my time building websites, interviewing people. Like even during the Pareto Summit, my wife had no clue who I was talking to, and she just saw the dollar amounts that were in my bank account, which were pretty much negative most of the time. And that's Wilson ended his note with that he welcomed this woman to the community of Affiliate Triad. And I think that's also one of the biggest problem. The GrooveFunnels, the official group, got already too big, so there's a lot of noise in there. And GrooveFunnels, they really know what they're doing. They're pushing out a lot of new content. They keep you engaged. But this served them as a company because they create a lot of buzz, but it's not what serves you to bring you to the next level, because you need to step away from being a consumer and must become a producer. And with GrooveFunnels, there's so much going on, like the Groovathon, where they try to set the world record for the longest stream ever. There was a lot of amazing content, but it was just too much, and because it was live, you always felt, or at least I felt, compelled to watch this. And they have so much coaching and publishing videos. Like David Lemon is online all the time, showing you walkthroughs how to use GrooveFunnels. And it's okay to watch some of the videos, but usually what I find is that you do not need most of this. If you care about your own business, you should emulate what they do or what I do, which is being prolific, creating your own content. And that's why I started this podcast in the first place. And that's what you need to do as well. So for example, it's one thing that I've learned from hosting the Pareto Summit was really ask yourself this question, especially if you're new to GrooveFunnels, who does actually care about what you do? What do your customers care about? And typically it's not a fancy website. This is only something that you care about. For example, as I told you previously, I'm currently building a website for my mom, and the first thing that she cared about was her own picture. I took one where she was cooking, cropped it in a way that it still looked nice, and I thought this was a really authentic picture of her. But she told me, get rid of the picture. I want to have a picture that looks a little bit better. I'm not even sure that this picture looks better, but she likes it more. So this is a typical example that you will face yourself. Of course, you should get amazing pictures, and it's one of the shortcuts to building a great looking website. But you want to keep the structure of your website and your funnel really simple. And instead you need practice, just like I'm doing right now. Practice getting in front of the camera, getting in front of the microphone, and producing content, really putting yourself out there, because that's the only way that people can have a glimpse of what you're doing, about how capable you are. And even if you're just starting out and you're afraid, like I was afraid of creating my first podcast episode yesterday, and it's you will get better over time. And it's as I said in the Pareto Summit a lot of times, it's all about getting better over time. And it's a learning process. It's like learning a new language. When you want to learn German, for example, like in the beginning you will probably suck, and I'm still not perfect. Like I'm speaking English now for more than a decade, like since almost 2 decades now. But it's a learning process, and I'm getting better. I'm reading English stuff and English books, and my vocabulary gets better. Hopefully my pronunciation gets a little bit better, but it's a learning process. And of course there are some shortcuts, and most of the things are about, and what's most important in your business is to know what things you should stay away from. Like yesterday there was also Mike Filsame's State of the Groovian, and it's really almost impossible not to be excited about what this company does and what they have planned in the future. He announced the release dates, the updates for a lot of the apps that they are building. He talked about the new program that they're doing with Chevron. He talked about the 5 launches that they have planned for next year. But and then there's Chatmatic and Butterfly Marketing, which will be their unique selling proposition. But I'm happy that I'm still using Kartra, which is an organized system. Right now I'm still organizing everything to make this podcast as great as I can for you. But it's all about having a home where you get inspired, and so it's okay to listen to this podcast. And I hope you introduce yourself in the GrooveFunnels group, which is, by the way, not only for GrooveFunnels. So I do not care which website builder or landing page builder you're using, but I have decided I need to focus. And one of the ways and where I will find the audience most likely is the GrooveFunnels group, because I already built some cloud in there, and this is where I spend most of my time right now. At the time of recording, I think Mike showed a stat that there's about 350,000 Groovestars who signed up for GrooveFunnels, and there's currently about like 115,000 members in the Facebook group. So even if just a tiny percentage of these people end up listening to this podcast, it will be a really successful podcast, which I hope. And that's why I'm putting so much effort into creating this for you. So really think about like what is the number one thing that you need to get out of GrooveFunnels. Is it really like, do you really need to test all the new features that they release, or is it okay to just build a simple website with a simple opt-in form and send the first few emails with a link to a new video that you've built in your GrooveFunnels store, and then just get people on a call or contact them in Facebook Messenger. Try to start a conversation so you really get a feel for your audience, especially if you're doing it like me. Like I have no idea how many people will actually listen to this or even watch the recording on my YouTube channel, but it's really about putting yourself out there and then building this tribe, this community. I recently heard a statistic that it takes 27 contact points for someone before they make a purchase, and you really want to orchestrate this in the easiest way possible, and the best way that you build your audience, that you will have a possibility for your audience to build trust with you, is by putting yourself out there. So really avoid the all the new apps. Like you do not need to know all the features of GrooveFunnels, except if you're like an affiliate like me and I'm trying to publish the best blog posts and most in-depth reviews. But this is my business model. Your business model might be completely different, and that's why it's so important that you know your business model and then ask, like, what is there that will really push me forward? Like, what's the functionality that I really need to build my business? And frankly, all of this stuff is already available even for free members. Like Mike Filsaime in the Groove of the Union told us that they will take away some features of GrooveFunnels in the future, but these are the features that are about butterfly marketing. So everything that you've learned from people like Russell Brunson and funnel building, and or that you're still learning, is still relevant. And if I think about like just like I'm currently in the middle of doing my taxes, my tax accountant does not even have a website. And like these are the people that if you need to make money with GrooveFunnels, like these are the people that you want to talk to, because just putting a simple website out there for them with some basic SEO is like this will bring in them a lot of clients and might be potentially worth a lot of money. And even if you're just doing it for free and to learn how the software works is enough for them. And you can build this in your own account and then sell them GrooveFunnels. Like that's probably one of the best ways to start as a GrooveFunnels affiliate. But in the end, what I really want to bring down in this podcast episode is that you want to stay away from shiny object syndrome. And this does not always mean that you staying away from buying new courses or like books or like anything like this where you spend money. It's also about staying away from shiny object syndrome when you take care of your time. That means you do not need to know about the latest features in GrooveFunnels, because you will probably not need them, because this is nothing that your customers actually care about. And this is really what I wanted to do in this podcast episode. I really hope that you liked this episode, and that's it for today.